Okay, in this video I'm just going to give you another example about how to add fractions with different denominators. I'm also going to quickly touch on subtraction. Okay, the good news is subtraction is done the same way as the addition. Okay, the only difference is the sign, obviously. Alright, so let's do another example here. What if you had 2 over 5 plus let's see, 3 over 10. Okay, so they both have the same denominator. Now we need to find the least common denominator. Remember the LCD? Alright, so all you need to do is find the list of numbers. What's the multiples of 5? 5 times 1 is 5, and 5 times 2 is 10, and 5 times 3 is 15, and 5 times 4 is 20, and I can go on, right? Okay, now what's the multiples of 10? 10 times 1 is 10, 20, 3 times 10 is 30, and so on. Okay, now I just purposely chose this question here to show you a little something. Now first thing I noticed, they both have 10 in common. Okay, so I know for a fact that 10 should go right here, but notice they also have 20, right? And if I keep going on, they also have 30, they have 40. So there's so many numbers they have as a common denominator, but the least one is 10. So that's what we mean by least common denominator. But the misconception here, people hear least, and when I ask them what the least common denominator, they say it's a 5, but it's 5 doesn't do it for 10, right? So that's why I can't choose 5, and also 10 does not fit into 5. So if you feel a little rusty with these things, please don't hold back from making your list and take your time. Okay, just a learning process. Okay, all right, so now we found out that the least common denominator is going to be a 10, right? So I'm going to choose a 10 here. Okay, all right, so look at this now. I have a 10 here, I have a 10 here, so this is great. I don't need to mess with it. Okay, but this one is not a 10, so how do I change 5 to a 10? Remember, I need to find an equivalent fraction. So 2 over 5 equals what over 10? Remember that from earlier? So I need obviously to multiply here by 2, and I need to multiply here by 2. Okay, so whatever you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. Okay, all right, now look at this. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so you put 4 right here. Remember, it's a plus, so you add, and 3 goes right over here. Remember, we didn't mess with this 3 because it already had a denominator of 10. Okay, all right, so now final step. What's 4 plus 3? That's gonna be obviously a 7 over 10. It's a proper fraction. Remember, sometimes you're gonna find improper fractions and you need to change them to mixed numbers. Okay, so in this case my final answer happens to be 7 over 10. Okay, let me quickly touch on subtraction. Okay, alright, so how do you subtract two fractions with different denominators? So let's do 3 over 4 minus half, for example. Okay, alright, I'm assuming that you guys know the trick about the least common denominator now, right? So put the list of your numbers, the multiples, and in this case the best number is going to be a 4, right? Because guess what? 2 goes into 4 2 times, and 4 goes into 4 just 1 time. So if I put my list, I'm just going to skip that step for now. The number obviously has to be a 4. Okay, so look at this, 4, 4. So I don't need to touch this fraction right here. But this one is not a 4. How do I change it to a 4? I multiply it by a 2. And I have to do the same thing to the top number. Okay, now you have 3 over here, so you just plug it right over here. Remember, this is a subtraction, so you put minus, and final step, 2 times 1 is a 2. Okay, alright, let me move this a little bit. Alright, so 3 minus 2 is obviously a 1 over 4. Okay, and that's how you do subtraction. So it's the same steps as the addition and everything we've done earlier, except this a little guy right here, and that's called the minus. Okay, and that's how it's done.